Good afternoon. I am sorry that I could not join you in person, both because I know what I am missing at this amazing summit and because the topic I am discussing is so very personal to me and so critical to all of us. As we all know, we are living in a time when divisions run deep in the United States and around the world. Everywhere we turn, we see a terrifying rise in anti-Semitism, racism, voter suppression, and other expressions of hate against embattled communities. While we all know what hate looks like, who could have possibly imagined the horrific massacre of innocent Israelis less than 2 months ago? Children and babies killed, women gang raped and murdered in plain sight, Holocaust survivors kidnapped, and entire families gone. And yet, while this atrocity seems beyond human comprehension, I think all of us in this room can comprehend as we mourn the loss of innocent people on both sides of the border as a result of this horrific attack. Yet where is the outrage? Why are so many people with power and platforms silent? Ever since October 7th, my life has been turned upside down. From a very early age, I have known about anti-Semitism and seen it in action. I have studied and learned about the horrors of the Holocaust and have taken my grandchildren to the Jewish quarters throughout Europe to understand the history of the Jews and what happened during World War II. But never, in my wildest dreams or nightmares, did I believe it would affect me personally, that I would fear for my safety and that of my family and friends. Fear for the survival of Israel, fear for the survival of the Jewish people, and agonize over the future being left for our children and grandchildren and for generations to come. Now, it's all I think about 24 hours a day, and it's what motivates me from the minute I wake up to the second I go to bed. And as many of you may know, I go to bed very late. The reality is that we have been here before. We know where it leads, and we cannot be silent. Judaism is often referred to as a religion of hope, and it's based on the promise of the future and the path to what comes next. In fact, Israel's national anthem, Hatikva, means the hope. And that is why it was so important to me to be here today to speak with all of you, because I do have hope. But that hope depends on the actions that each of us takes in our commitment to stand up together against the hate that is so prevalent in our world today. My father once said that we have an obligation to shed light where darkness and ignorance hold people captive. Education is the key to shedding that light, and we have an obligation first to educate ourselves and then to educate those around us. We need to understand history. We need to learn the facts, and we need to focus on the good and important reality that while we may not all share the same beliefs or traditions, while we may not all look alike or have the same histories, there is so much that most of us do share. We love our families and want to provide for them. We want our children to grow up happy, healthy, and safe with opportunities ahead. We care about our communities, and we want and need to make them better. As we all know, education does not only happen in classrooms. It happens at our kitchen tables. It happens when we are out with friends. And it happens in the example we set for others in our personal and professional lives, including thinking carefully about the content we create and the content we share. With knowledge and with understanding, we can both create a common ground to reinforce the shared values that are the foundation of humanity and resist those who would undermine them. All of us in this room have voices that can be heard, and we have an opportunity and a responsibility to use our voices and our platforms to educate those around us. This starts with our children, who are the future, but also includes our colleagues, our friends, and the audiences we reach with our work. We must stand together to condemn hate and violence and to facilitate the multicultural understanding and acceptance that we, all of us, so desperately need now. Recently, I have been creating several programs to bring the Black and Jewish community together. As you may know, the Black and Jewish Alliance had at one time been a formidable partnership, and I want to unleash the power of that alliance once again. After one of my recent programs, where we screened the movie From Swastika to Jim Crow, a film comparing Southern racism with anti-Semitism, I received an email from one of the attendees. She said, anti-Semitism and racism are like the two towers of evil. If they hate Black people, they are going to hate Jewish people. And if they hate Jewish people, they will hate Black people. She nailed it. Hate is a virus, and if it affects one of us, it will ultimately affect us all. Needless to say, not just Jewish and Black people, but all people. So many communities are at risk. Parents fear for the safety of their children, and people want to know that they will not face violence or hate just for being who they are and living their daily lives. As women, mothers, and leaders, we have the opportunity to ensure that what we are seeing play out in the Middle East today will not spread, and that our children will feel safe and welcomed by their friends, peers, and colleagues. As you know, Ava DuVernay has a much anticipated film coming out based on the book Caste. For many reasons, that book resonated deeply with me, and I would like to share with you one of its passages. Evil asks little of the dominant caste other than to sit back and do nothing. All that it needs from bystanders is their silent complicity in the evil committed on their behalf. History has shown us what happens when evil takes root and when we sit on the sidelines watching it happen. Today, we are once again at a tipping point. We cannot be silent. We cannot be onlookers. Our fractured society will not heal on its own. The choices we make now, individually and collectively, will determine whether or not we will leave our children and grandchildren the world they deserve. And this is why I ask each and every one of you to stand with me to fight all forms of hate, including the anti-Semitism that is so rampant today and poisoning the very fabric of our society. I cannot think of a more powerful group of people, who happen to all be women, than the group assembled here today. We can do this. We can stand up to hate and fight the oppression that so many face based on their religion, race, gender, or sexuality. But we have to do it together. Thank you to Sharon Waxman and to all of you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. I only wish I were there to continue this conversation. Thank you.